Thank you for joining me on another episode of RIA Collective. I'm your host, as always, Charlie Van Derven. We're going in a little bit of a different direction with this particular episode, where those of you who have listened in the past, typically what we do is we're helping advisors transition into an independent space, increase the trust in the industry, where I think that fiduciary role within an RIA certainly is impactful for some of the trust issues that financial services suffers. Today, we're going a little different direction because I met a gentleman along the way named Sam Sova. Sam, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it, man. So Sam runs a company called Subatomic AI. And from what I can tell, there's some tools out there in the industry. Of course, it's in its infancy, but there's some AI tools in the industry that are doing some things. Sam, Jump, Zox, those are some of the call recording and CRM integrations that we see a lot of. You've taken it a little bit beyond what I'll call the tip of the iceberg with those tools. And I don't know, from what I can tell, saving advisors hundreds of hours a year, dozens of hours a month in meeting prep. That's an exciting use case scenario. And so I just want to dive into that and make our listeners aware of some of the front end tools that are out there. I should say front edge tools that are out there, because you guys are leading the way very much. Sam, welcome, man. I do appreciate you spending some time with us and our listeners at RIA Collective.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Charlie.
Yeah, you got it. We come from the same stomping grounds. Before we hit record, we were talking about cold, but Sam's in Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I don't think we talked about it, but maybe we got some Green Bay Packer affiliation. Hopefully not Chicago Bears.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Packers all the way.
Very good, man. Very good. I don't know if I told you on our call, Sam, I brought a Packer player to third grade show and tell.
I have a story for you too. Ray Nitschke watched me and my friends in first grade play football. So that's my story. Very cool.
My first job out of college, and we're going to go quick through this because I want to get into Subatomic. My first job out of college was at a Radisson Inn in Green Bay, which is where all the personalities in town would stay when they came for NFL games. And I got a chance to meet Ray Nitschke shortly before he passed away, and a whole bunch of Packer players and all the NFL people like John Madden and Pat Summerall that would come through town. And so anyway,
love that.
I was extremely starstruck. I think I'd be more starstruck over that than a Hollywood celebrity. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's just my bias in life.
Awesome. I'm jealous.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
man.
Awesome.
Let's jump in, man. Listen, I would say, what was it? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but ChatGPT launched November of 22, I believe it was. Might have been 21 if we've been using it that long. Whatever it was, by January 2023, so a couple months later, we were monitoring what that was all about. And we started incorporating AI into social advisors. Specifically, content creation was the simplest way to jump into it. It changed the way I do business. It changed the way we structured our business. Here we are 3 years beyond that, Sam. You've got your finger on the pulse more than I do. Dude, I'm stoked to hear about Subatomic and dive into some of the details. So how did you, first off, I grew up in this industry from doing websites way back in the day to where we are today. How did you choose financial services as where you wanted to stake your flag and jump in with an AI tool?
Yeah, sure. So we started in 2023 and I have a co-founder. His name's Carl Simon. He's our CTO. And Carl was building complex projects. I was doing more of the consulting side. We come from the Fortune 500s doing the same thing, figuring out challenges. How do you solve them with technology? And that's really what we were doing at the early stages of AI. And what we found very quickly, you start talking to your network and your friends, and we found out that after talking to hundreds of leaders in this industry, there were common problems that we could really address with this long term that were not just point and click solutions, right?
Yeah.
That were major pain points, not just for efficiency, but to really drive growth in an industry that is completely changing. So that's where we started.
Very cool, man. One of the things that keeps a lot of people out of financial services is compliance. And so I think we need to talk a little bit about that today. But before we dive in, what were some of those problems that you and Carl identified that you guys were positioned to create solutions for?
Yeah, at a macro level, when you think about technology, it was, hey, we're experimenting with AI, but it's just another tool to the tool set. So I have 15 tools I have to log into every day. Now I'm adding 16, 17, 18. The tools, we have some AI capabilities, but they're just kind of wrappers on the current tool that we have. It's not moving the needle. They don't actually work into our workflows. And I just don't have this unified view of our data, which I feel, and this is comments we got, the people we talked to felt like that should be possible now with AI. So That's where we started. And then at a macro level, just 41%, it depends where you look, but the stat I have, 41% of advisor time is spent on tasks that, quite frankly, we don't believe they have to do anymore. They need to be in front of clients.
Yeah.
And that is where the value is in this space, is relationships. And that's
Oh,
what you
no
heard
question.
over and over. So when we talk about growth, like what we're creating and what I'm going to talk about further with you, Charlie, is really to break through that growth ceiling where we can do more with same, right? So we can grow without necessarily hiring incremental people to do back end work, which I think is extremely interesting to all the EAs that we talk to.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. And we're going to talk a little bit about meeting prep. I can
Sure.
only imagine if you've got 150 clients and potentially that's 300 review meetings a year, one for just about every day when you pull the weekends out. And there's got to be an hour of prep, whether it's assistant or the advisor themselves putting time into meeting prep. And I know we're gonna talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that. And just in that scenario, of course they've got to review everything. So maybe it's 15 minutes instead of an hour. But in that scenario, you're saving hundreds, 200, 300 hours a year.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
you want to dig into that? We can dig into meeting prep and some of the other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I want to make sure we talked about meeting prep. I also, when we were getting acquainted, you talked about the client or the prospect journey and more touch points, but also more meaningful touch points, right? Based on who that person is versus we do a lot of marketing automation. And in
Yeah.
many cases, the message is the same. We segment people within that marketing automation, but if you fit in that segment, the messaging is the same for you as it would be the next person in that segment. So let's start with meeting prep and then we'll get into the more touch points.
Yeah. And I can talk macro too. Actually, if you're okay with it, I'd like to start there and how we think of this and then roll
Yeah,
into meeting prep.
it's
So,
your time.
so
Your time.
I, so we had just taken a step back. We think AI is almost at that 1995 moment. We talked about this a little bit, Charlie, right?
Yeah.
Like email comes up, websites, and like we, when that happened, nobody really had the context to what was going to come next. And what came next was dramatic, right? You had social media, you had the
Yeah.
iPhone, BlackBerry, you had different hardware, and work changed forever after that,
Yeah.
right? I don't think anybody can argue that. Work and our lives change. We actually think the same thing with AI, right? So many people are thinking of this as just the next phase of technology of what they're currently doing, hence the wrappers and some point and click solutions like note takers. They're great, but that's not going to dramatically change the growth trajectory of your IRA. So we think of this as like, this is the pivotal moment that it's going to change. So what is the first thing you have to do, right? You have to unify your data. RIAs in general have 15 different tools that they're accessing on a
Yeah.
regular basis to get client information. So the way we look at it is you don't have to get rid of your tools. You already trust these tools. A lot of them you need to use to make transactions and so on. So we orchestrate across all those tools, essentially create what those are familiar with of a data warehouse, data lake, put a vector store on top of it, which makes it easy for AI to access. And when we do that, we have one view of our entire business, more importantly, one view of every customer. And now, when you incorporate AI meeting prep, you now have access to be able to do that in a matter of seconds versus hours. And that's how we look at it. We look at AI as the fundamental thing you need to do is this orchestration. And then the possibilities of what we do next to significantly grow the business is really endless of the possibilities we can do.
That's pretty cool. So when we talk about tools, we're obviously talking
Yeah.
about CRM, right? Redtail and
Yep.
Wealthbox and Salesforce derivatives. And then for a lot of our clients, they've got a client CRM and then they've got a prospect CRM.
Yeah.
We're a reseller, go high level, but there's other good platforms out there. Portfolio tools, right? Orion and Black Diamond and these types of portfolio management tools. What else do you put in there?
Custodial platforms.
Custodial platforms, right?
Email. Most RAs have now dabbled with note takers, right?
Yep.
Client communications via email, Ring Central, if we're using that for
Yeah,
text.
right. Yeah,
It
yeah.
goes on. The way that we've orchestrated this is like API connections are not good enough, right? Because if something on the endpoint changes or something with the host changes, like it breaks everything. So I mentioned co-founder Carl, our CTO, his background is deep in data and integrations for the last 25 years or so. So
Yeah.
like we built this platform knowing that APIs weren't going to cut it. So we have proprietary technology where we can use what we call AI coworkers to actually go in and get all this data in the platforms that APIs, SFTP servers, et cetera, just don't get us to give that full view. And now we can pull it into one centralized area and orchestrate AI across that. That to us, that is the sweet spot where growth is inevitable for whoever does that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? You want to talk about meeting prep? You want to talk
Sure.
about
So
touch
like
points?
that
Yeah.
example is great. In listening to the market, we know that meeting prep is just a complete time suck, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
So if you think about what I just explained of orchestrating all your data. So let's think about a client. Let's say Jane Smith. Jane Smith is in our CRM. We have emails, we have text, we have maybe some calls we've recorded, we have our custodial data, and then all these other ancillary tools, Charlie, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So what we're able to do is take all that information and now create an agenda for a meeting. It can be anything that an organization wants, from 2 pages to 10 pages to visual. The output is now actually fairly easy with the AI platform that we built, right? Because we have AI building this. It can be done faster than ever.
Yeah.
We can do it in a dashboard, et cetera. But now what we can do is we can actually have one of our AI coworkers go in the calendars of all the advisors, and a week before the meeting, send all their agendas for them to review ahead of time, and then collaborate with our AI team. We call it AI coworkers, to make any modifications right ahead of the meeting, sync the data to be real time, and they walk into that meeting ready to go. And it's not just automation. What we're talking about is AI actually making recommendations of what you should talk about based on age, maybe where they live, maybe where they're at in life, if they have kids in college, things like that, right? So it's not just pure automation. It's actually having our AI coworkers think and make recommendations for us. It's pretty impressive.
That's pretty awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, as with anything, when you've got human involvement, there's even if a seasoned advisor or a seasoned assistant is pulling notes together, there's going to be gaps left, right? Based on their
Yeah.
biases, based on things they're not even considering. Maybe they didn't look at the last 3 emails before they jumped into that meeting. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah. And let
Yeah.
me even paint a kind of a bigger picture of how we see the future. And these are things we're even doing today. Memory, right? Cognitive workflows. Maybe some of you that are listening have read about this, but we built this into our platform where it learns over time, right? So as you give feedback as an individual advisor or at a firm level, we can build that feedback and memory into how we now give outputs in the future, right? So we like to think of this. Again, I keep saying AI coworker. Like if you're going to hire somebody, right? As you hire them, you're going to train them, you're going to give them access to your tools and data. We
Yeah.
think about the exact same thing with how we build our AI coworkers on top of your data.
Yeah.
And if you hire somebody new, you're going to give them feedback along the way, right? You're going to train them up. Same thing with our AI coworkers, but they incorporate it super fast and will make the changes right away. And
Yeah.
never forget the feedback that you gave them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. When you engage with an RIA, Sam, what does that look like? There's only so many tools being used in the industry, but when you start pulling 6 or 7 different portfolio platforms and custodial and CRMs, there's a heck of a mix. Is that a custom fit for every RIA, or have you guys developed something that kind of plug and plays?
It's tailored for every RA, meaning we don't just have a set of integrations. I really think that thinking is old school, of just like we have integrations with these partners. Again, with our AI capabilities, we're able to pull all the data into this database of whatever you want from these platforms. So when we engage with the RIA, we're looking at what are the key use cases, what are your key pain points, and then what are the platforms that you use that we're going to address those pain points with. We orchestrate it. We actually have internal platform called Nexus and Nucleus. This
Okay.
is pretty crazy, Charlie. We haven't talked about this yet, where we can take a recording of that call where somebody walks through their pain points and the tools that they have. We can then create an integration plan through AI, a workflow of how it's going to work within AI. We get the sign off from the customer. Yep, this is what we talked about. And now we can actually have our AI coworkers build a team of AI coworkers highly tailored to that organization for the use cases that they have. Try to
It's
wrap
pretty,
your head around that, right?
yeah, it's,
I mean, you're talking about like data warehousing. This was like a 12 to 18 month thing, even 6 months ago. This currently for some people that we talk to, and we're talking 3 months, maybe
that's
less.
awesome. Yeah.
So speed, velocity. We have this, our CTO, I got to give Carl credit for this, adapt, evolve, and scale. That's how we think about our organization, but we think about our clients, right? So as they adapt and they evolve, we're able to scale with them with what we're doing and the capabilities we built internally to move super fast as they grow.
That is awesome, man. Subatomic's doing some fun stuff, dude.
Clearly, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I was a pleasure to meet you when we did. And when I were exposed to, like you said, that kind of that, I don't mean this to sound negative. It probably will, but that's not how I intended. But we're at the tip of the iceberg when we look at tools like Jump and Zox and some of these common tools in the industry, which I'll tell you what, when an advisor sits down and looks at their capability and it's going to record my call, it's going to dump my CRM notes, it's going to draft me an email, already they're looking at saving how many hundreds of hours a year. You guys take it to the next level with meeting prep and automated touch points throughout a journey.
Yeah. Yes. So I think one more thing I really want to hit here is I think the traditional way we think about software, we've proven has completely changed with AI. Meaning you get a demo and you got to fit into this box of what's been shown to you.
Right.
We literally had a request, hey, can you show us some dashboarding capabilities that you have? And we're like, sure, what do you want to see? They laid out what they wanted to see. Literally 24 hours later, within our internal capabilities, Nexus and Nucleus, we spun up a dashboard with dummy data, exactly how they wanted. You could click into it. This is completely changing everything, which is why I went back to 95 and think that in their mid 90s, because this is the pace we're moving at.
Yeah, and I've shared with you on our conversations, I started putting websites together. I was on the sales and marketing side. I was in 1998 and it was with a company that was doing wirehouse websites. So we get a contract with a big firm and then our resale, our opportunities were with the advisors. Dude, in 98, people didn't want to pay $25 a month for a website. And now it's such an integral part, and maybe it's even fading out at this point, but here we are 27 years later, pains me to say a little bit, but, and for the last decade and two and a half decades, it's been a central point of their business.
Yeah. So, but we think of this as equating it to hires, right? So you shouldn't think of this as we're buying new software. We're actually hiring AI. That's how we think of it. And that's how it's going to work. And we're actually not saying, bring us in and we're gonna cut a bunch of people. We're saying, let's think about how we do more with the same. Let's reallocate people that are doing this heavy lifting and move them more to the front of the house, potentially.
Yeah.
Relationship driven, more touch points. It's critical.
Love that.
The relationship. I want to hit on, if you're okay with it, one more thing you asked about compliance and audit. I didn't want to. So from day one, again, Carl and I come from Fortune 500s, consulting background, and financial services. And we knew security and compliance was going to be huge.
Yes.
A couple things about our platform. One, from day one, we can actually build this within the IT infrastructure of an IRA. And that's how we deploy it. So your IT has complete security and boundaries on what's going on. Second, we have a product that we have called Subatomic Deep Lens. We'll actually be doing an actual release of this, but we just build it into every project where you can see either as a user or an admin exactly what is going on behind the scenes with these AI coworkers and how they're accessing data and getting you answers to whatever question you have or proactively whatever they're doing for you. So like complete transparency, auditability, introspective evaluation. And this is core to our platform. And we think trust and transparency, especially around what we're seeing now with Moltbot, that where AI agents are creating social networks and all this crazy stuff. Like, we need to keep trust, security, and compliance at the forefront, which is exactly where we started with this.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's such an important aspect for this industry, right? It's like I said, it's an industry I've loved working in because for a lot of reasons, but we've been running an agency for 12, 13 years in financial services and compliance keeps people out. right? Agencies are very much a dime a dozen these days, and the compliance and security of financial services makes it a little more difficult to penetrate this particular industry, putting some insulation. There's plenty of them out there, but putting some insulation for businesses like the one I own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, before we close, where's it
Yeah.
going, man? You're giving us a snapshot of what the capabilities are today, but what's tomorrow look like? Do we know?
Yeah. For Subatomic, you're going to see us all over. We were pretty stealth last year. We
Yeah.
wanted to build out a great couple use cases. We have one that some people have seen. We're saving a client 8,000 hours this year just on meeting prep and some of those things. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1.3 billion firm, 8,000 hours are going to save just on meeting prep and some client engagement type things. So we're really like, you're going to see us all around. But I think, again, this space, we can't think of it as these point solutions and software as we've known it. That's not where this is going to go. There's going to be new hardware out there. There's going to be completely new ways of working. And we're really bullish on AI Coworkers being our collaborative partner to just help us grow and get things done and collaborate. And we're excited about it. And like I said, we're extremely bullish on it.
Yeah, dude, it is very exciting. So you guys are taking it another step as to what the industry has seen so far. Dude, I'm excited to see where Subatomic goes.
We'll stay in touch. I'll keep giving you updates, Charlie.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'll make sure that I'm following you on LinkedIn so I can see updates there. And I don't do a lot of conferences anymore. Part of me misses that. Part of it, there's FOMO there. So maybe we jump back into a conference circuit, but I'm sure we'll see you guys around, main stage, booths, whatever it is, right? Gotta get
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll be all over the place.
I'm excited to help you get the name out in any way I can, man. We got a little bit of a network we built over the years.
Awesome.
So happy to introduce Subatomic to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
cheers.
It was great connecting with you, one Wisconsinite to another.
Yeah, man. Go Pack Go or something. Sam Sova, thank you so much for being my guest on RIA Collective. And for our listeners, thanks for taking some time to meet my new friend Sam and learn a little bit about Subatomic. Maybe AI helps us change the trust issues within financial services, Sam. Let's see if we
I think it will.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
All right.
Thanks, Sam.
Charlie.
Appreciate it, dude.